And hello, everyone. We are back, and now we are finally joined by our invité d'honneur of the week. Welcome, Smash. Welcome, GeauxDee. Thank you for joining us in this fantastic year in review.
Yay!
Thank you for having us.
Glad to be here.
It's been a struggle. I just said that the devil was behind all of this, but the devil is a liar. We all know that.
We cast out those demons.
So, if you were with us earlier, you know that Jojo and I went through our list up to the number 5 on the list. We were talking about hunters when we decided to actually stop the broadcast so that we could help our guests to join us, which we have achieved. So, just to recap, we are reviewing our top 10 on this year of things that we streamed. So far, Jojo and I went through 5 of our top 10, starting from number 10. So, we're going to catch you up, gentlemen, and briefly hear your opinions about what we've talked about so far. So on our number 10, and I know that you guys have your top 10 too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
So let's compare and see what we got. So number 10 for us was Tiger King.
Really?
Okay.
Yeah. Jojo had a whole reasoning behind that, and I'll let Jojo do the explaining of that one. But I actually agree. I actually think that despite the lack of substantiveness of Tiger King, it made such a splash this year that it deserved the spot, at least the lowest on our top 10.
All right.
Yeah, as we talked about earlier, but it obviously was not a great television, but it was certainly entertaining television. And I think that coming at the time it did, I think it, for some folks, was some of the first thing that they'd maybe ever binge watched. So I kind of feel like it was a sort of a dining show for 2020 and the crap fest it turned out to be.
The crap fest. Yes, I tend to agree. I think for me, I don't get me wrong, it was entertaining. All right, it was definitely entertaining. But I think because we were in a pandemic and there was really nothing else to do, I think that's why I got such a big splash. I did binge watch it. I did, follow up on everything that went on after the fact. Did she kill her husband? Did she kill her husband? How he self-destructed himself. It was a train wreck, and you just had to watch because we were stuck in a house. We had nothing else to do. So I think if it was normal times, I don't think it would have got so much as big of a splash as it got because we were in COVID, I think.
Yeah, I agree with you completely. If it had been any other year, a few people would have watched it and it would have been a joke, but I don't think it would have been the phenomena that it was.
Exactly.
Definitely would have been a joke.
So when Jojo and I were talking about this, Jojo said, I feel like Tiger King kind of gave us an idea of what 2020 was going to be like.
Yes,
that's true.
That's absolutely true. So what do you guys have on your number 10?
Sadly enough, we didn't have an order. We just because we bantered, like we watched so much TV and so many shows that it was some stuff that we're like, I don't know if it's going to make the top 10 or not. But in no specific order, we had Lovecraft, In the Dark, All Rise, The Boys, The Neighborhood, The American Barbecue, Ozark, For Life, The Last Dance, which is a documentary, and P-Valley. That was our top 10.
Sweet.
So I don't know how many of those you guys watched.
Yo, that's interesting because some of these things we've got on our list.
Really?
Some of those, yes. Yes.
Okay.
So that's gonna be interesting. And in fact, we've already talked about the Last Dance, but I definitely wanted you guys to amplify on that because, as I was telling Jojo, I'm a basketball fan only during the playoff. Much like most of you guys are a soccer fan only during the World Cup.
You're right.
It's true.
And this is very, very true.
So we will be talking about that. So here's our. So if you were to pick now, and I don't mean to put you on the spot, but if you were to pick one of all of these to be your number 10, the lowest on your list, what would it be?
Smash.
Maybe In the Dark.
In the Dark.
Yeah,
I can go with that.
What is In the Dark about?
it's a great
Smash.
I'm gonna put Smash on the spotlight right now.
No, this show right here, it's a pretty interesting show because it's about a female who grew up blind, and she somehow, some kind of way, gets in all kind of trouble that even if she had eyesight, I don't know how she gets in this trouble, but she also like fights crime in a way, like helps solve mysteries and stuff. So it's an interesting show, and we like it because it was just different. It wasn't like the most shows out there. They took it from a different perspective, and me and GeauxDee, we both were sitting like, did you see that? And it's just a very interesting show. Once you start watching, you're hooked.
Yeah,
That sounds good.
And it's only a 2-year-old show, so it hasn't got stagnated yet. The writing hasn't got stagnated, so it's
right. They're
still they're creative right now, so it's really
they're still having fresh ideas and shit.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah, but it's amazing because she's blind, and it's amazing, like Smash said, how much trouble she gets in, but then how much trouble she gets out of at the same time. So.
Yeah.
That's funny. But like talking about the writing thing, Jojo and I have talked about this. Like you can tell when a show is kind of getting to the point where, the writers get in the room and they be like, "Yeah, I don't know what else to do."
We're lost at this point.
Yeah. Right. So on our number 9, and also that was another Jojo's pick because Jojo watches this show and I still haven't gotten to it.
Oh.
Yeah, but I think you guys will agree with this one. Jojo, you want to tell them?
So for number 9, we had The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
I hadn't got to it either. I'm with you, Graham. And it's on season 2, right, JoJo?
Season 2. Season 2.
And I haven't got through episode 1. I tried. Now,
So I have a confession to make. I've never seen Star Wars.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, that's fine. I haven't either.
I don't think you have to have seen Star Wars to enjoy The Mandalorian. I think the reason that we'd put it on the list was because it sort of became so iconic. I mean, even if you aren't don't watch it or have never seen Star Wars or anything, I think everybody in this year particularly knows about Baby Yoda, has at least seen the image of Baby Yoda,
Right.
and some of the memes and that kind of thing. So I feel like the show was pretty pervasive in culture, whether it was, the most wonderful show or the most original show in the world isn't really necessarily my reason for choosing it. It was more the cultural impact.
Okay. I just added it to my list.
I mean, it's been on my list because they started pubbing season 2, and I was like, well, I haven't got to season 1. And at the time, at the launch of it, that was like the premiere for the Disney Plus. So, and it was like the only thing on Disney Plus at the time. And so, me not having little kids to just partake in Disney Plus like that, and that was like the only, family show to watch. I was like, I'll wait. So, I had to get to it. I'm sorry, I had to get to it. It's on my list, and I'm a Star Wars fan, so I should be all in on that, right?
It's fun. It's a fun show.
Yeah. So the first thing I did when I got Disney Plus was to watch all of the Marvel Universe shit that was available there. Uh, because some of it were coming out so not in order that I'm like, you know what? At some point, I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna go to the movie theater to watch any of this because there's a story to it, and they're not throwing it out there in order, and I don't have the attention span for that. But now I'm caught up, so that's good. So The Mandalorian is our number 9, and Baby Yoda has a name. We've talked about this.
What's his name?
Yeah, I don't know.
Joe, you tell them, man.
It's Grogu.
And who? You got me on that. Now, who's that?
Grogu?
Grogu is Baby Yoda's name.
Grogu.
Yeah. Yep.
Huh.
Yep. Hoping for Baba, yeah, but
It almost sounds like
I
Google
like.
you can go for that for lunch, actually.
That's Baby Yoda's real name, Grogu.
Yes.
Yeah. And it took them 2 damn seasons to come up with that.
To come up with that name.
All right then. So, what would you guys put on your number 9?
Need you this.
Smash loves Lovecraft, and I'm gonna be honest, it doesn't hit home for me. So we just try to get a collective number 10. So, but I don't know. Lovecraft, I guess, because Smash. You don't have to explain Lovecraft because I didn't watch it at all, but you loved it.
Well,
so
I would actually rate
I'll let you
Lovecraft
get that out the
3.
way.
I'd actually rate it higher, but
Really?
we'll go. Oh yeah. It's a good show, but you can't. I don't know. With that show, to me, you can't describe it to anybody.
It is
Right,
weird
because
to describe. We
it's
did
weird,
we
like-
did an entire episode of it, and we're still scratching our heads.
Yeah, you can't describe it. I mean, it's just I don't know, futuristic. I don't know. It's a great show. I love the writing, the way they wrote everything, and how they tied everything in and came back and wrapped it up. I'm curious to see season 2 and how that'll roll out. But yeah, I'd rate it a little higher, but I don't know. I can't describe it to anybody, honestly, to tell you how to watch it. If y'all can't help me out.
Jojo, we did debate as to whether or not Lovecraft would have made our list,
Yes,
and
we did.
I for some reason I thought we actually put it somewhere, and we must have decided something else because
I
it's
think
not.
I think we went with Hunters instead. I think it was between that and Hunters.
So I ain't gonna lie, I'm a little offended that Tiger King made it and Lovecraft didn't. That's
It's all based off taste, I guess.
Well, so I can see your point, really. But I think we definitely thought that Tiger King was sort of a phenomenon, a weird one, albeit, and so that not putting it at least on the lowest part of this list was not going to be realistic at all. Having said that, yeah, Lovecraft is an absolute mood, and we had a lot of fun talking about it. And to be honest, maybe it should have made our list, but because we went with 10 shows only, I think it was hard.
It's hard,
We had to make some very hard decisions.
I'm interested to see what else is on that list if Lovecraft didn't make, because that was like a Tiger King phenomenon at one point too. Everybody was speaking about that.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I guess I would have to say, I'm only going to do this because it's a reality show. The American Barbecue, I would put at our number 9. I don't know if you guys see it. It's a Netflix reality barbecue show. Smash and I are big barbecue fans. We think that we are pit masters. At least we try to be. So,
right.
But this show was pretty different. It has 2 hosts with comedian Lyric Lewis and Floor's Lava. I don't know if you guys know him. Hosts Rutledge Wood, and they have two pitmasters, Kevin Bledsoe and Melissa Cookston, and it's like your normal normal cooking barbecue show, right? But the twist on it is they always come up with these different exotic type of meats that they use. And that's what was really intriguing, and to throw them off base a little bit, to try to cook barbecue possum, or what was some other stuff? They had snake. It was different meats, type of proteins that they were cooking, and it always threw them off, and they had to come up with great recipes. And it was just fascinating to watch, to see them actually cook all this stuff. And I had the judges to be like, "Oh, this is really good." I'm like, "You guys must really be doing it for Tough TV, because I don't really think barbecue possum would really be that good to me." But it was a fun watch. With Lyric Lewis, she's a comedian, so she'll give you the funny, and it was a good watch. Being stuck in COVID, would you have watched it again? Would it be in your top 10 any other time? Probably not. But because we're stuck in COVID, this makes the top 10.
Oh, right. So now I'm interested, actually. Jojo.
It's really good.
I can't watch any TV show about food, because then all I want is food, and I want the food that I'm seeing. It won't matter if it's actually roasted possum. I'll be like, no, I want roasted possum, and that's all it will do. So there's no way that I'm going to be able to get that. So I can't watch TV shows about food. I'm the same way about books. If somebody in a book starts talking about some phenomenal sandwich they're eating, I'm like, well, I have to have that sandwich.
So let me throw a bit of a story here. When I was younger, my years as a Catholic seminarian, there was a new bishop that arrived to the Venezuelan embassy in the Dominican Republic. So they had a dinner for him, and we went, as seminarians and stuff. Some of us went. And I remember eating some of the best chicken wings I've ever had in my life. And I kept going back and back and getting them chicken wings, right? And then later I was talking to someone, and I said,
they weren't chicken wings.
Yeah, I'm saying, those chicken wings were good, man, but there was one bone there that I couldn't quite get, really the shape of it. But I was great. It's like, what was the chicken wing again? I'm like, yeah, those that's actually frog legs.
Oh, that's good eating. That's good eating right there. That's good eating. Frog legs.
And I was like, okay, that's all I'm going to say. Okay, yeah. So now,
did you go get more?
Well, I had eaten all I could eat, because trust me, my dude, when you are still a teenager and you have all of this metabolism, that how these teenagers. I have a 20-year-old who's still eating like the world is coming to an end. So I had already taken advantage of all the quote unquote chicken wing that I would have, but it was frog legs. So this barbecue show, I might have to watch that, because the whole barbecue possum thing sounds interesting to me.
Check it out. It's a good show. My family sat down and watched it with me, so it was a good show.
When the family sits down and watch it, it's good, because I have to sell an entire show to my wife before she'll sit down and watch it. Right. So let me put it down for you. This is how it goes. She's like, I'm not watching that. This is stupid. And I'm like, okay, dude.
Sounds like my wife. She doesn't want to watch hell anything. And if you do find something she wants to watch, we binge watch stuff. We may sit down and watch 4 or 5 episodes or something, and then she want to watch one episode and then go do something else. Like it's not 1985 anymore. We don't have to sit there and wait for the next episode to come on.
Right.
We can binge it.
Yeah, that's the thing, man. When I sit down to watch a show and I start it and finish it, and my wife is like, "Hold on, I have to go fold some laundry." I'm like, "Oh, for the love of God!"
Right.
We're picking on the wise man. Jojo is silent. Jojo went silent. So, right. So we're moving on to the number 8. This one is going to be a quick pass. I don't know if you guys saw this, but we chose actually a show that nobody seemed to have talked about a lot, and to a certain extent, it feels like we were the only ones who liked this show. But we thought it was good enough to make the list. It is Upload on Amazon Prime. Did you
Yes.
Did you guys ever get to that one?
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't like it.
I liked. Well, I remember when we was on the show last time. We kind of talked about it. We talked about it in past when we weren't. We didn't record it, but the premise of the show was really excellent, but the delivery of it was terrible. I mean, the first couple episodes, they were like on point, giving you the origin of how this all came about. And then as it went further on, I think they just got clueless on how to deliver this idea to us in a creative way. So it was a plus for the idea, and it was a negative for the delivery of the idea.
I think I'm okay with that. With that summarizing of yours. What do you think, Jojo?
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, I think the concept of the show was really good, and I think that there were definitely some issues maybe with the delivery of it, the conveyance of the idea. It could have been a little different.
Yeah,
so we're saying the upload was good, but the downloads suck.
Basically. I don't think there will be a season 2 of that. I'm sure.
You think there wouldn't be a season 2?
I don't see where it would pick up from, because it actually it got slower and weirder and dumber as it got into the episodes. I mean, they were carrying the guy in a box, and then it just got weird after a while. But you were already in it, so you had to finish it.
I'm gonna see how this train is going to wreck. However, but exactly. I think if I'm permitted to go that far as to say is that the subject was serious enough that making it comedic was a challenge, and then it got to the point where it was supposed to get a bit more serious, and the writers were left scrambling to find where to insert the laughing, the funny
right
of it. And so you're like, oh, this is getting too serious. We have to insert some weird ass joke here or whatever. Is that what you saw here, Jojo?
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah, I think we all would. It just didn't come off well.
Yeah.
All right, so you definitely know that Smash is still mad about Lovecraft, because like we just shit on Upload, and then Lovecraft didn't.
Right? See.
Yeah,
right.
If y'all got Upload,
Lovecraft would at least take Upload spot.
All right,
but that's why we're doing this show, right?
Right.
Yeah. So, what do you guys have next?
Smash, I'll let you pick the number 7.
I would have to say The Boys. It was, it's a good show, a good twist on superhero. The first season was phenomenal, but this last season was okay. It was good, but I think I didn't like it because I think they realized that being in COVID, they didn't want to release it like binge watch, so they started releasing it in episodes or week by week, kind of slowed it down for me. And so it made me kind of lose the interest in it for the second season, but it still is a good show just because once again they put a different spin on superheroes, so that's why I like it.
Yeah. That was my own grief with it too. I actually we occasionally post some blog post on our website, and one of the few that I actually decided to do was that, because I was mad at the fact that I don't have streaming service because I want to watch the same one episode of this of that what I'm watching every week.
Right.
And for me, it was like, no, what are you doing, dude? You're not HBO, so get no, seriously. So I haven't actually. I've watched about 3 episodes of it, and then I'm like, okay, well, when you guys don't let me know, and I'll go there.
I just liked it's not Marvel's, it's not DC. It was its own brand of characters, quirky superhero characters. And if you always want to see, okay, what could have Marvel have missed as far as a superhero character, right? What has DC could have missed as a superhero character? So they have some different, some twists and some quirkiness about it, some funniness about it, where you wouldn't get that from Marvel's or you wouldn't get it from DC. So it was a good watch, and I'm with Smash on season 2 because it released the way that it did, and I couldn't binge watch it. I hadn't even watched season 2 yet. I'm waiting for it to completely finish, then dive back into it.
Yeah. I loved season 1. I mean, we did a show about it. I thought it was great. I thought it was some of the best TV I've seen in a long time.
Yeah.
But I haven't watched season 2 yet. I think for the same reason, because I just haven't. It's I like binging things, so
Yep.
The binging is what works for me too. So, Jojo, what do we have on number 7?
Number 7, we had The Last Dance.
All right.
Oh, really?
We've already talked about this, so you guys take it away.
I could see that.
So, what did you guys think of this? And do you agree with what we thought of this show? Is that there's a bunch of documentaries like that, sometimes about coaches, sometimes about teams, sometimes about individual players, and they've never made a big splash like this one did. And so what we theorized, our hypothesis is, one, it made a big deal because this was one of the few documentaries where Jordan was willing to speak and spoke. He did speak. He did, and because he's such a very private dude, like And the second thing is that also there was COVID. Do you think that it would have made such an impact otherwise?
Yes, I think that could have been released at any given time, and it would have been a phenomenon like it is. One, Jordan is one of those guys where, because of his branding, because of his shoes, because he's always being compared to whatever generation that's actually playing basketball now, he's always being compared. And because he lives because I grew up in his era, so I know of the things that he's done, but I didn't know. I was really intrigued by the backstory of Scottie Pippen and how the team was formed, but just the overall aspect of how that team was developed and how people look at each other and try to compare Jordan to all these other players, and it connected everybody's generation. He's like the sun, and everybody's orbiting around it because they know of him, So he's not like a player that played in that era that's died off and don't know anything about it. And I think that's what made it really intriguing for everybody to watch. And you just wanted to see how that, because you heard of the different stories that happened through that era with Dennis Rodman leaving camp and him doing his little thing, Scottie Pippen getting ill. How did Jordan really feel about that? Jordan played with the flu game. Why would Pippen do it? And there was a lot of intriguing things that you didn't get to see behind the scenes that really pulled everybody in. And like I said, it ties every generation together because he's Michael Jordan. So I think it'll passed over. It'll played in any kind of era, whether it be COVID times or just regular times, I think.
Yeah, I had to agree with GeauxDee on that one. I liked it because, like he said, I like Jordan, but I think I also like too when you have the greats, whether it's sports or even your favorite movie or whatever, when you get to get that peek behind the curtain on what really went on, because a lot of times we make up stories or we tell stories in art that we came up with on how the situation unfolded or how it may have unfolded. But when you get them to sit down and tell how it really unfolded, it just puts you there. You're like, oh man, like I didn't know he went through that, or they
Right.
went through that to get that championship, or make that movie or whatever. So just getting that peek behind the curtain on how it really went down just gives you more of an admiration to them, and you're like, wow, that was really, I didn't know he stayed that long to shoot shots, or I didn't know he was that hard on players. Because one thing that a lot of people didn't know about Michael Jordan, except the people that really knew him, is how critical he was on the people that played with him. But he expected greatness from himself, so it just trickled down to the players. He wanted greatness from them as well. So
Right.
really liked it.
Yeah, and I think Jordan's being critical of the players around him made him sound, before you heard it from him, made him sound like, oh, this guy was, had the superstardom all over his head, so he thought he was an asshole. And in the end, it just turns out that this is a dude that is so competitive that he just hates losing. So
Yeah.
if you went in it for to win, get the hell out and let's bring in somebody. I think that's what I got from this, isn't it? Isn't that same thing?
Yeah, and then the creativity of it all, how they tied in two storylines simultaneously. How they took from Jordan being drafted and him being ascending, coming through that team, the trials and tribulations of having to overcome the Celtics, overcome Detroit, and then the final of it all, of the 97 team, the 97-98 team, when it all exploded, right? They won the last championship and it all deteriorated. And it was kind of cool the way that they creatively, they took those two storylines and played them at the same time, bounced them back and in and out of each other, and intertwined each other till you got to the end of how it all ended. How you had such a great team and you had such a great, dominant through the 90s, that how could it actually come to an end? And it was cool the way that they played it all through and tied it all in together in one small package over a course of, what was it, 6 or 7 episodes or something like 6 episodes, something like that. It was brilliant the way they did it. This was more than a documentary to me. This was more like a movie to me versus a documentary, to be honest.
Yeah.
All right, I think it was just in 10 parts.
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that. Yeah.
Much.
There's a lot to talk about. Okay, so we in agreement with that. So let's move on. Our number 6 is a show that came to an end this year, and I fell in love with this show because, again, Jojo talked about it once, and I was like, yeah, I remember watching the first couple of episodes of this show, and I never went back because it was originally on, cable TV, so you had to go back every week and shit, and I don't do that. But then it was on Hulu, and then eventually Netflix got it. So I was like, binge watch. So we decided to sort of like pay an homage to this show by including it in this list, but I do think it deserves to be on this list. What do you think, Jojo? Could you expand?
I don't know. I talked about this show when we had the technical difficulties before, so balls in your court, Grant.
So the show in question is The Good Place. So you guys ever got onto this show, The Good Place?
I dig it. I dig it. They're on season 3 now? 4?
No, it ended after season 5, I believe. Season 4 or 5.
So season 1 was phenomenal. Like that, I was, again, just like Upload, it was a great idea that you hadn't seen on TV before. and they did it really well. By the time I got to season 3, I stopped watching it because it seemed like they were reaching for storyline. So I hadn't watched the last 2 seasons of it, but it was definitely a good show. And also, it's an NBC show, and NBC seems to not love their creativity because they'll cut their shows really fast. So to see this run for 5 years for CBS, for NBC, it's definitely worth to be on your list because NBC cuts shows faster than anybody that I know.
Yeah, and I think the show sort of like built up its own little fanhood and did not expand too much from outside that fanhood. So it was like sort of like a Community or 30 Rock type of thing for me. So it wasn't a show that was would have been popular with everybody, but I think NBC kind of saw the value in it for those of us, contrary to Netflix, who will fucking cut some shit even if everybody else like, don't get me started. But it's everybody wants to know how is heaven, right? Everybody wants to know, what does heaven look like? How does it operate? Who's the manager? Who's the, everybody. It was, and to see her, who really doesn't want to be there in the first place, right? And do all the antics that she goes through and the different things that she do. Like, you should have been kicked to hell a long time ago. But they give her another chance and another chance, and and she'll pull people in and pull people out of her antics. It's a really dope show. I enjoyed it. I can see why it made your top 10.
I haven't finished it. I like it. I like it. It was a good show, or is a good show, but I like it, and because I like that type of comedy as well. But I haven't finished it all the way because I just couldn't get into it. It was just, for me, it was something to watch, like if I'm doing dishes or trying to go to sleep. Just, you know what I'm saying, just something to have on in the background, and then you kind of catch it. So it wasn't like it wasn't like I had to watch it, but I like a lot of the actors in there as well too. But like GeauxDee said, she should have been kicked out a long time ago. It gave me hope though.
It's funny.
Yeah, exactly.
We're gonna have to do another show because Smash has a go to bed list, and I don't like shows that he watched to go to bed to. It's weird. It's like, okay, he needs this. So you telling me my show is white noise for you? That's all it's worth for you to go to bed?
Because you ever watch the show that you're not in? It starts off pretty interesting, but you're not into it. But like when you fall asleep on it, it's like a good sleep for you. And the show is just playing in the background. You sleep so good. That's what I use them for.
Right, man. I'm struggling to see that one.
I use pills to make that
list. I use JoJo and Graham to go to sleep too. That's not a good list to be on.
Touche.
He said touche.
It's not a good list.
All right. So what did you guys have on as number 6?
Let's see. Where we at? Man, this one, because we already named that one. I probably have to go with, I don't know if we want to rate it this low. You want to just go with The Neighborhood?
Nah,
that's
way up on my list.
Well, I'll let you pick it, and then I guess we should have did better at numbering them.
Yeah, we should. We just put a list out there. It's.
I mean, I guess because we had The Last Dance on there too, but we already talked about that. So
I'm going to put P-Valley in there. So we had number 6, right?
Yeah.
So we're not in the top 5. Okay, let's put P-Valley there. I don't know if you guys watched it. It's a TV show that's surrounding the what would you call it?
Female community college. No,
there you go. And it's surrounded by the strip club, and for so many reasons, this show is really good. One, we don't have much totally black TV, right? So whenever you have some TV that's for us. You have to sit down and you have to watch it, even if it's not that good. Now, don't get me wrong. This wasn't really that great of a show, all right? But being a young man growing up, you always fantasize about these type of, what happens there, and being growing up in the South with Smash and I both living in Mississippi for years, and it's like it was just one of those shows that played into the things that you witnessed and you saw as you grew up maturing as a man. And it had the violence, it had the sex, it had the drama, and it had everything that you would want, the hip hop music. It had everything that you would want in that type of a show. So again, would I have watched it the way I watched it in non-COVID times? Probably not. But because there was nothing else to watch, it was a good. It wound up being a good watch to say. It was a pleasant surprise to say that much.
Yeah, it's a real good show. Like he said, it really brought back nostalgia, I guess, for us, because some of the scenes you could be like, oh man, it took you back to a place where you might have been, or a story that somebody may have told you and reminded you of. It's probably like, I don't know. It's probably like I'm trying to think of that movie, but I can't think the movie where they had whooped that trick. I can't think of the movie. But anyway, it's like a mix of that and your like Flashdance or something, I guess, if you want to say. But it's a good show. I recommend people check it out and just get your own take on it, because it does have a plot. It does have a story and a background.
It's not for the kids. Let's put it that way.
Oh yeah,
not for the kids. This is an adult-only show.
Well, I saw a couple of advertisings for the show while I think we were still watching the very first season of Ghost 2, the Power Book, whatever. And I'm like, yo, this seems like the show, but I don't know that I want to watch this show every week. I'm gonna let it just pile up on my Stars app, and then I'm gonna come back to it. And then when I was ready to go to get to it, my wife got into the Spanish Princess, which is a show that she's watching on Stars. And then I was like, yeah, this is good. So yeah, let me just earn me some more love and watch the Spanish Princess with her.
I hope your wife doesn't watch your pod.
She doesn't.
Because you done jammed the twice. She's like, I'm gonna give me a couple kitchen passes off of this one. Appreciate it. I'm gonna sit down and watch this with you. I feel you, Graham. I'm with you on that.
So yeah, I think P Valley is should have made the list. And in fact, Jojo, when we were doing our list, we went based on some other lists around, and P Valley made several of those lists, didn't it?
Mm-hmm. It did.
Okay.
We were like, what is this, man?
You'll get to it. Just make sure the kids not around.
So we're finally catching up to where you guys came in, because we had gotten to Hunters, and we talked about how this is one of our favorite shows, and we were madly surprised to see that Hunters actually didn't make a lot of the lists that we looked at. But it was a very different show, and I think it deserves to be our number 5. We did an episode about it, so I'd like to hear what you guys think of it.
I think that show was very, very, very underrated by a lot of people. That was great to me.
I agree.
I like how it was, but a lot of people, and I feel upset because I think it was disrespected with the great Al Pacino in there, and people didn't go watch the show, but I love the show. I think it was a great show. So now I'm going to pass it to GeauxDee, because I think he may have something different.
It was okay. It was.
You're not serious, are you?
I'm dead serious. It was just, what drew me in it was Al Pacino. And what also drew me into was executive produced by Jordan Peele. So I figured okay, it's worth my time and effort. But it was okay. I mean, it's not like it was okay. I can't say anything more about it. I mean, it's like the Nazi zombie, Nazi hunters. It falls in line with all the zombies TV shows. It's just not my shtick. I would say that, and that's why it's not really high on my list because of that. It's zombie hunters and Nazi hunters. It's just hunting. It just didn't come across well to me like that.
Yeah, just say something, man. Say something. Where did he see zombies, man? Like, what is it?
No, I'm saying that like what's the big zombie movie, the big zombie show that everybody
Walking Dead or whatever.
Dead. That all falls in line for me. That's what this all falls in line with me. The Walking Dead,
Yeah, I know what you meant.
Instead of the zombies, they killing Nazis. That's just the only difference,
Okay.
So.
But the difference is zombies aren't real and Nazis are.
But it still had the same thread for me. It's all killing. They're just chasing around, killing something. It just didn't come off well to me. It's a good show. I'm not taking anything away from it as a show that you enjoy, because I mean a lot of people enjoyed it. It just wasn't that for me. I'll say that.
Okay. Right. I like the way Smash set it up. Like,
because he knew.
GeauxDee take over.
Because he knew. we talked about this already. He knew. That's what I'm saying.
It's like, I know there's gonna be trouble, so let me.
I'm gonna say I like it, but now y'all get it.
That was funny, man.
I mean, I knew his stance on it. So,
all right then. So, if you guys were in your list, what would you have as number 5?
Now, here's the good part.
Mm-hmm.
This is a total agreement on all of us, and I'm going to put. Let's go with the CBS shows. So, I'll put. It's kind of hard because I love them all. I have a 1A, 1B, 1C, 1D, 1E. Which one you say?
All Rise.
I could take that. I guess I could take that.
So
All
number
Rise,
5 for you guys is All Rise.
All Rise. We'll go with that. Yeah, we'll go with that. Yeah. I think it should be higher. I think it should really be higher. It's such, and it's one thing about this show that really put it over the top for me. Right? You always have all the same court shows, the drama shows, the police shows, but the difference, the thing that for me creatively that took this one over the top for me, coming back through COVID, they were the only ones that really took it from the Zoom aspect and created a whole show around the Zoom aspect on them.
That's true.
Going to court, and then when they come into season 2, they picked up on that last, like they took the time out. They couldn't film, Hollywood had shut down at the time because of COVID, but they took their own time and got cameras and set up and developed this show around their true life experience through COVID and being locked up, being quarantined. And that was really creative to see them do that. And then for them to come into the next season and pick up where they left off. And it really tied, that last episode really tied it in. But it's good to see how the judges interact with each other, how the hierarchy of a courtroom actually, because you only see, most of the time you see like it's a judge or it's just a lawyer. It's some aspect of that, right? But you're getting from the bailiff's perspective, you're getting from the defendant's perspective, you're getting from the lawyer. It's just a well-rounded court show for me. And it's definitely, and that's why I was really wanting to put it higher, but we could put it at 5. That's fine. I enjoy it. I really enjoy it.
No, it's a very good show. I like it. And I think everything GeauxDee said, and it has a lot of diversity in there. It has all the races covered. So I think they did a good job at putting this show together. They just didn't throw it together and say, hey, we're going to do your typical legal show. They got a diverse cast, and I like the main character who came from. She played the detective, I think, Misty Knight in Luke Cage, and to see her come over and do this, it just opened my eyes. So I really like this show. One of my favorites. I tune in to watch that every week.
I think the actress you're talking about is Simone Missick.
Missick? Yeah, Simone Missick, yeah.
Yeah, she's dope, man. I loved her on Luke Cage. But
Yep.
I have to confess, I've never seen one episode of All Rise.
Shame on you, Graham.
You're missing out.
JoJo neither. She's like,
Nope.
You know what? I'm just saying, y'all still got upload on y'all list, so I'm just saying.
I know.
You know what the crazy thing is? I'm starting to agree a lot with Smash. Man.
I'm just saying.
What were we thinking, Jojo?
I'm waiting. I'm waiting. I think y'all's top 5 are gonna be the ones to go with.
Okay, so now I don't know if there's gonna be. I think we are going to be agreeing a lot more often on the top 4. Would you?
Right.
What would you say, Jojo? I think we have some good ones here.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm
I don't
kind
know.
of like ready to leave the room. So it's okay.
Really?
I'm not trying to offend you, JoJo.
No, I'm not offended.
JoJo, we pissed you off that much?
No.
Guess we're not invited back.
Nope.
No. So listen, we chose our number. Jojo, please, set this one up. Because I mean I love the show and I'm in love with the show, but Jojo is the Secretary of State of explaining things. So she'll take it from there.
So our we lose somebody.
No, I'm here.
Okay. So we for number 4 we did the Queen's Gambit, and the reason for that was we both enjoyed the show a lot, and felt like in the era of what we have now, with 2020, I don't know that, again, it was a show that would have been particularly popular otherwise, but there's actually been people that are interested in chess now that have never been interested before. And I kind of feel like that it had kind of an effect a little bit on the psyche of the people who watched it. It's a very visually pleasing show, very rich sets and costumes, and the story behind it, I think, is a good one and an interesting one, and not necessarily something that we've seen before. Chess, of course, has been tackled in other movies and in other mediums, but to have a female protagonist with chess is not anything that's ever happened before.
Yeah.
So
what say you, gentlemen?
I like that show. I'm 100% in agreement with you on that one. That was a awesome show. Me and the wife actually watched it together because at first it started off as one of go to sleep shows, but I was just cutting it on to go to sleep. But then I found myself watching it, and I stayed up later. So and I just sometimes I couldn't wait to watch it because it was just so interesting to see what go next. So and it got me back interested in playing chess as well. So
yeah. What did GeauxDee think about this one, Smash?
I hated it. I loved it.
Oh, I was about to say I was gonna throw him alley hoop. No,
it was a good show. I mean, you think about I love Anya. What's her name? Anya Taylor-Joy, whatever her name is. I mean, she was. Sometimes you watch shows and you think that, man, that character really doesn't fit that part, but she really played that part to a T, and it was a fascinating watch. They made chess exciting, right? It was like chess is pow, your move, pow, your move, pow, your move. That's all there's to it. But they made chess. They put some drama behind it, right? And it was during the Cold War when women aren't in the hierarchy of social aspect, and that ties into it as well. It was a good watch. The only thing that pissed me off about it was only like 6 episodes, so it was a mini series.
Six or seven episodes.
Yeah, it wasn't your typical Netflix length. Yeah,
it's a mini series.
I think they did that because they probably weren't expecting it to make that big splash. They were like, "Yeah, this is about chess. We've made it as interesting as we can, but let's leave it at 6 episodes and see 7 episodes and see what happens." But I think you guys are right. In Jojo and I, when we did the episode about it, we talked about how they did their best to make it about what it was, even though it was a female character, but they weren't going for the salacious and gratuitous nudities and love stories and shit. They made it like, this girl is brilliant. She plays chess and she will kick your ass. Like, she doesn't have to be showing you one boob or whatever. It's just, I mean, that was the one thing that I loved about it, because whenever, if Hollywood makes a movie about Madame Curie, they will choose the prettiest girl they can find, and then they will, intertwine it with some weird ass story where Madame Curie somehow dance can in Paris or some shit, and will showing half her behind. And I hate that, because Madame Curie was like bloody fantastic, and there's more to her than having being a female scientist, and so that's what we've come to expect from Hollywood, and I hate it, and I hate that. But with this show, we saw her for who she was, and whenever she was referred to and she was praised only because of the fact that she was great at chess and she was a female, she was like, yeah, that is just one part of it. Let's talk about me being great at chess, and I love that.
Right.
So that's number 4 for us. What is you guys' number 4?
Yeah, I would say The Neighborhood. I would. I like that show because, one, I like Cedric the Entertainer, and it's just a good show. I mean, you put him. It's kind of like, to me, it's like the new age of maybe Archie Bunker and George Jefferson. It's kind of like the new 20 to that, if you want to say, not as in your face as they talked back then, but like that same comedy. So that's one of the reasons I like the show. But I like the cast of characters that they created, because you get tired of seeing the same people on different shows. So I do like this show.
Mm-hmm.
The Neighborhood.
Good question.
CBS. Okay. I was gonna ask about that.
That CBS is probably our
go-to.
CBS is our go-to public network. That they seem to always give you something worth watching, and this is definitely one of this for me. Let's call it what it is. Here you got this white couple, right? That only thinks they're the country, the Midwest white couple moves into the hood of South Central, Compton, wherever they are in LA, right? And it gives you the Cedric Entertainer makes it funny, Max Greenfield makes it really hilarious because of the way he has that dry humor, and then Cedric Entertainer has that over the top humor, and it seems to mesh really well. And for me, for him to see, Cedric Entertainer get caught in these white situations, like we don't put raisins in our potato salad, and he's like, he brings over pumpkin pie, like we don't. Black folk don't eat pumpkin pie. We don't eat sweet potato pie. So you get that racial dynamic that, it's taboo to everybody, right? But they make it so funny for you and so enjoyable that you just have to watch it because they're so on a comedic scale. They're on two different ends of the spectrum, but they make it, they blend it real well and makes it an enjoyable watch. So
good explanation.
Yeah, that sounds interesting. So
you haven't watched that either, Graham?
No.
Either JoJo?
No, I don't have the capability. I don't have CBS All Access, so
okay.
Now CBS All Access. That's a good one. I would keep that one right now. I would that one over Disney Plus.
Yes,
because there's some hidden shows on there too.
Okay. Well, so let me explain how the whole streaming thing works for us. We have sort of like a co-op of how. So there are some things we have that we've never paid for, and so we created this little network where somebody has this one and they give us give me access, and I give them access to one thing. And so no one in my circle right now has CBS access. So that's why I ain't got CBS access.
Trying to pull us in the circle, Smash.
I see.
They want us part of the syndicate.
So, Smash, we have to talk.
Right. It's
I hear you.
I mean, just for the series, The Good Wife and The Good Fight, just for that series alone, it's worth it. It's worth it. Because I was like the same way, Graham. I was like, I don't know about CBS Access, and he was like, that's regular TV. Well, I'm gonna pay for regular TV. And once Smash explained it to me, and you really get into it, there is other content that they're creating that they will not. They don't advertise it, right? They don't advertise it, but it's there, and it's really great quality TV. And it's like, damn, they got a new series coming out. I can't cancel this subscription.
I know.
Yet.
I keep canceling, but then they keep putting something up.
It's funny because they don't advertise these shows. They don't advertise it. They don't do anything. It's just there. And then if you have access to it, you're like, oh, it's so sweet, something new to watch. Great.
Yeah, and if we want to talk about a bit more about the new streaming services, like I wasn't planning on getting Peacock, right? Because like I'm like, Peacock is just NBC trying to get paid for shit that they've already showed us before.
They already canceled.
They've already canceled, right? And so I wasn't trying to get Peacock, but the way they messed with me is because they decided that some of my favorite English Premier League games were gonna be only on Peacock, and so I was like, yeah, I guess I'm gonna have to get Peacock. But otherwise, I find no other value on Peacock, to be honest with you. CBS, what's the name? All Access. I will probably try that because now that you guys have mentioned a couple of shows that sound interesting enough that it will give us another source, right, Jojo, to find good shows to talk about. I think.
If it's nothing but you get it for a month, just try it for 30 days. The free trial, and watch those two shows, The Good Fight and The Good Wife is first, and The Good Fight is the spinoff. Perfectly seamless. It's great. Two great shows. Two really great shows.
Yeah, and I have a thing for Christine Baranski, so yeah, I probably will.
Really?
Yeah, dude.
He's like, yeah.
She's weird and quirky looking and stuff.
That's
yeah. I mean, shit.
Like she's weird. Like she's weird and quirky looking to me. So why would you?
Yeah, I was very happy that she was Leonard's mother on
Oh,
what was that show again?
man.
Big
What?
Bang Theory.
The Big Bang Theory, my
The
all-time
Big
favorite.
Bang Theory. Yeah, she was
All-time
Leonard's
favorite
mother. So I was like, oh, Christine Baranski is there. Now I like Leonard. Yeah.
She's tough in the Good Wife and
Dude.
in the Good Wife. She's tough. She plays a tough character, and you'll enjoy it. You enjoy it. She's a good actress.
I got to get on that then. Right. Jojo, would you like to introduce our number 3, please?
So for number 3, we have Little Fires Everywhere.
Okay.
Yeah. So, opinions?
No.
I thought it was a good show. My wife actually turned me on to that one because she was watching it, and to just see how everything came together, it was a good show. Yeah, I mean, I like it. I had thought about adding it to our list, but then GeauxDee, like he just said, no. But no, it was a good show. But yeah, that's all. I mean, I don't really have too much to say.
It was. I haven't watched. I watched the first episode, but I have a. I'm boycotting Kerry Washington right now because her last season, her last show, I hated to see it end. You know, so I'm really taking it. I'm really taking my frustration out on her. Is the reason why I really partaked in this one that much.
Oh wow,
that's
petty. I'm gonna go ahead and say that's petty, dude.
It's very petty. It's definitely it's high on the petty scale, but you know, some shows you enjoy so much that you just don't want to see it end. And that was one of her shows that I just like. You know what? She played the role perfectly. They always had a great storyline. Even when it ended, it still seemed like it still had life for me. So it's right. You know, I'm taking it out on her, unfortunately. So
your feelings are hurt.
Yeah, my feelings are really hurt. You know, and we did an episode with a director, and she had to explain to me the lifespan of these shows, you know, and it basically came out to GeauxDee, you're just being selfish, bro. Stuff just has to come to an end at some point in time, you know.
I think that should be repeated. GeauxDee, you're being selfish, dude. Like, let it go. Seriously, I'm just saying, let it go.
Let it go.
Yeah, I mean, so we were surprised that this show didn't make any of the lists that we looked at, and we thought it was very good. We thought Kerry Washington was absolutely fantastic, and we did an episode about it, and we talked about it very highly. It just turns out that I don't know. I think people have the same problem that I have with Hulu, is that I hate to pay for a content that I have to still suck a couple of commercials on, you know.
Right.
And so probably had it been in another medium as opposed to Hulu, let's say Netflix or even Amazon Prime, it probably would have done better.
Where I'm just curious, where does Hulu rank for you guys in your streaming services?
Oh God. Like we've done the podcast for almost 2 years, Jojo, innit?
Yeah.
How many episodes have we done of contents that we found on Hulu?
Not very many, honestly. Not very many. It's kind of something you almost feel like you sort of, I hate to say have to have, but I mean it's bundled in with a lot of stuff. Hulu is, and they do come out every so often with something really good, but a lot of the stuff is just stuff, you know. Like, it's just taking up airwaves or whatever. But I did enjoy Little Fires Everywhere. I thought Kerry Washington was really great in it. I thought Reese Witherspoon's portrayal of a very brittle housewife was very good. But I think Hulu's pretty low on our list, isn't it, Graham?
Yeah. I just don't see the point of like, hey man, you paid us for this, but we still need some more money. So would you watch these commercials? I'm like, no. No.
And that's the reason why it ranks low on my. Actually, I wouldn't watch Hulu at all. I get it free. Well, I guess you can say it's free through Spotify as a bundle, like you said.
Right.
Some type of bundle, and then you watch it, but I'm commercials. Nah, please take them away.
It's definitely not the thing.
It takes away from the show. It just takes away from the show. First of all, we all are bingers, right? And then so we don't like to watch TV, weekly. And then you want to give me a binge with commercials in between? Come on, that's fine.
Please don't.
And like broadcast television, the shows are constructed so that they know when the commercial breaks are coming. They're made in a very particular way so that they may even roll a break at a time that's almost a cliffhanger. Right. But the way television is produced now, they don't know when those are coming. So you can have a break roll in the middle of, somebody's thought or whatever, and it completely disrupts the whole flow of the show. So it's not good.
That's a good point, Joe. I didn't even think about it like that.
So no cool. That is true, man. Like even YouTube kind of like respects you a bit more in that respect because, when commercials are coming, you kind of see it coming. And then 3 seconds into the commercial is 5 seconds into the commercial, you can skip it. YouTube doesn't even give you that.
They're the worst with their commercials. Just the fact that I have to just wait 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 to skip it. It's just over 30 minutes you watch it, you'd already seen you hit that button like 5, 6 times already. It's like it's an annoyance more than it is. I don't even see how they get advertising off of it because I hardly ever click on any of those links, if any at all. So.
Yeah,
right.
But anyway, so Little Fires Everywhere is our number 3, and we were surprised that it didn't make very many lists, but such is life, innit?
It was on Hulu.
Exactly. So. The next one, our number 2 on the list, is one that I think that's where we had the debate, Jojo, isn't it? Where we decided that if Lovecraft was going to make the list or not, and this one. Maybe Smash is going to be happy that we choose this one over Lovecraft. But again, this is a huge surprise.
I'm waiting to hear.
I'm waiting now.
I'm edge of my seat, like spit it out, Graham.
I know, right?
Spit it out, Graham.
Our number 2 on the list is The Five Bloods. It's the only movie actually that has made our list. So. The Five Bloods. And Jojo, please tell us why, because you are so much better at explaining our reasoning on that one. Because actually you convinced me that one.
You said our reasoning.
Well, because we did a podcast about it. We did a show about it. And it is the only movie on our list, as you said. I think the reason we chose it is because partly it was going to be one of the last times that we ever got to see Chadwick Boseman. And then you also have the experience of the Vietnam vet, the Black Vietnam vet experience that is not something that gets told very often in television. And then you have the director of Spike Lee, and you just have this sort of perfect storm of a movie and great actors and great storytelling. And of course, there's things to quibble about with it, as there is with anything. But I think we both felt that when it came down to it, that for the number 2 of the year, it just was had so much of an impact as to what it was trying to say and what it offered for 2020.
I had to agree. Like I can't argue with JoJo's explanation, and then to honor Chadwick Boseman. So I'm okay with that one. I'm okay with that.
This, had we picked movies, this would probably, if we included movies, this would probably be in my top. This would definitely be in my top 5. I mean, we talked about it the last time we did a pod together. It explains so much. My father is a Vietnam vet, and
I remember you saying that.
It explained so much what he didn't want to talk about. It explained to me why he didn't want to talk about it. To see the portrayal of what they had to go through that era of war. It made a lot of sense. It hit home to me, and then I had to be like, wow. Now I get it, and for them to the disconnect and its portrayal of, and Spike Lee's quirky way of his delivering of a show is never cinematically in line the way everybody else does things. So you get that tied into it, and from the story to go from the past to the present to the future, it was an awesome watch. It was good to see Chadwick Boseman one more time, but yeah, that hit home for me more than just a movie for sure.
Yeah. So
not to suck the life out the room.
No. I mean, seriously, we did gripe a little bit about, as you all described it, very quirky way of Spike Lee doing things. But again, we have the same problem with Tarantino. We have the same problem with M. Night Shyamalan.
Why you set that brother name up like
that? It's so many consonants, man. Like, what is this? But again, okay, so
we had a hard kindergarten, didn't
it? Man. But I think we should all just, shut up and accept these directors for what they do and who they and the way they do it, and let them be, and be happy that we actually live in an era that we get to appreciate their work. So, this was an absolutely fantastic movie, right, Jojo?
It's not the norm. Yep. It's definitely not the norm.
And it's not like we don't break the norms all the time with the way we podcast.
This is true.
And so now, right. So before we go to number 1, what would you guys put on your number 2?
Go ahead, go D.
This is hard. This is really hard. So I guess I'm going to put The Life there for number 2. I'm going to put The Life there.
For Life.
For Life. Yeah, For Life. I'm going to put that number 2 because 50 Cent is on a phenomenal roll for him to go from a hip hop artist to now a television exec, I guess you would say, and for him to peg this story, and it's a phenomenal story to see guy getting framed. He fight back. He didn't let prison take him over. He used it to his advantage. Got his law degree, and for him to fight his way out of an unjust situation, and for him to not only do that, but to have a group of writers that can take that story and develop another story on top of it, right? Where now the stuff that we're watching right now on For Life, it's not even real. It's all fictional. But for them to be able to take that guy's story and then twist it and turn it into something that's really, good to watch, it's a phenomenal watch. And I don't know how he does it, but 50 Cent, he's he's in a sweet spot right now. He's winning right now, and this is definitely a show that's winning for me for sure.
Yeah, that's an amazing rise to something, isn't it? Like, I mean, this guy has sort of like a Midas touch, if you will, in terms of producing. But this show For Life, is it the one with Nicholas Pinnock?
Yes, he's playing Aaron Wallace. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Jojo, we've talked about Nicholas Pinnock because he is the husband of Marcella on the show Marcella.
Yes.
Yeah, and he was in another. Oh, he was on Top Boy, the very first version of, if you remember, Top Boy.
He was on that one.
Yeah, he was not the one that was recently done, but the one that was done in 2013. It was like if you want to call it the Gen first of Top Boy. Nicholas Pinnock was on there. And he's a damn good actor. He is. You know, those Afro-British actors are like really, really something else, and they're giving us sort of like a masterclass of and the way they chameleonically get the American accent and work with it is an amazing thing too.
That's the thing, how they can take their English accent and make it disappear and then reappear. It's amazing. It's hard for us Americans to do it in reverse like they do it. It's like they can lose their accent and bring it back, and it's amazing.
No way I can get that English accent, mate. I just can't get it down.
It's amazing.
I keep trying.
Yeah, well, my accent is actually a soup of so bear with me. A lot of people will be like, "Yo, where is it?" I'm like, "Look, man, don't get me started with the list." So, it actually from the accent from nowhere.
He's from Georgia, but once Idris Elba got hot, he tried to pick up his accent. Huh? That's
Actually, I think when Idris Elba was trying to make it as a DJ in New York City in the early 90s, I was actually hopping around Britain. But that's a story for another day. All right, then. So we are going to move on. Finally, we've gotten to our number one. And we're all curious about this one. Yes. So, Jojo, please do the honor. And by the way, I am absolutely 100% behind this pick. So let's hear it.
Okay.
You need to be a game show host. You know how to string stuff out, Graham. Like, we'll be right back after these messages.
After these messages, we'll be right back. I think with this one, because you asked me what I thought was the best show of the year, and I think we said it at the same time. So I may destroy you.
Yes. I may destroy you.
Yep. I've never seen anything as raw as that really on television, and as beautiful and as heartbreaking, and it was my pick of the year, and I'm happy that Graham enjoyed it too.
Yeah. So, gentlemen, take it away.
I got to put it on my list to watch. It's on my list to watch, but it's you can blame HBO Max for that. You can blame them for that, because at one point in time, HBO Max has been on a run with a lot of sci-fi, and I'm not that big of a sci-fi guy. So, and it kind of got lost in the minutia of the advertisement, so you kind of like, it's just got to be another sci-fi type of situation, but it's really not. So I'm going to blame this on HBO Max for me missing this one with their abundance of sci-fi that they're trying to push out right now on their streaming service.
Yeah, it's not sci-fi at all.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You know, when it launched,
Yeah.
they were advertising all these different things. Sci-fi. You go check it up. You're like sci-fi,
Yep.
sci-fi, and then here's a good show that just slipped through the cracks because, as you see, HBO Max advertisement. Oh, must be sci-fi. Keep it moving. So I have to put it on my list. And if you guys said it's number one, it definitely has to be a good watch. So I'm definitely gonna be my binge tonight.
I'm gonna have to watch this one. Like I honestly I had been protesting like HBO Max because I'm getting tired of all these places adding something plus Max, so we have to go buy another stream. So I was kind of protesting until I found out I could get it free now. So well, I'm already paying for it. I didn't even know that I was paying for it because I have HBO. So anyway, but I haven't watched this show yet. It is on my list because the wife was talking to me to watch it with her. So it is on my list, but maybe now I'll have to go watch it since y'all put it at your number one. Because if I don't think it's number one worthy, I'm coming back on your next show. No, I'm just kidding.
Banging on your door.
Nah, but I've heard great things about this, and even when y'all had contacted us and I was looking up, like this made a lot of people's number one spot, and I was like, huh. So it's been on my list, so I just got to get in there now. So I'll do it this weekend.
So this is a show that had been kind of looking at me for the longest time. So every time I went on HBO Max, because it has this really weird thumbnail, right? It shows you this chick, this very, very beautiful black woman with purple hair, just staring at you. And I'm like, what is this show about? And then it says, I may destroy you. And I'm like, I don't know. I'm kind of scared. So one morning I was on my way to work and listening to NPR, and they did an interview with one of the directors who did one or two of the episodes. And I'm like, so I'm just going to take a look at this show. And before I looked at it, I actually told Jojo, can you look into this one? Because I'm still scared. Like, I was still scared. Like, I don't know what to expect, And then I went in one episode and two episodes, and I'm like, yo, this is great. This is absolutely great. It is a very raw show, as Jojo said. But it is the greatest exposition of fantastic Afro-British actors I've ever seen. And the surprising thing is that it's on HBO as opposed to, I don't know, Netflix or BritBox or something like that. Because most of the time what happens with British shows is that once they go big elsewhere, then an American network will buy them. And this show actually came out, and it was exclusively made for HBO, and it is an absolute smash. Michaela Coel is the writer and the main actress on this. I think she's one of the most talented young people out there. Like really, really, absolutely talented. But the rest of the actors, there's no one who plays a role there that, minor or not, they all shined absolutely greatly. I cannot speak well enough about this show. So
we got to start watching that immediately. Smash.
I know. Like I'm like, he's all over. You sold me.
A Reverend-esque.
It's definitely not when you watch with the kids. You don't watch this one with the kids.
Oh, really? It's one of those.
Definitely no.
Yeah. But it's I love the fact too, and Graham was talking about HBO, that the creator of the show, she had actually, I believe, originally gone to Netflix, and Netflix didn't want to give her as much creative control as she wanted. And so she was like, never mind, I just won't do it.
Right.
And HBO we actually reached out to her. I think someone at Netflix reached out to HBO and were like, this show, but she won't do it unless she can do it the way she wants to. And HBO reached out to her and were like, hey, we'll give you everything you want if you'll make this show. And she did. And I have a lot of respect for her for doing that, because it would have been very easy for her to just take, okay, it's fine. I'll do it the way Netflix wants. And next time I'll do it the way I want to do it. My next show, I'll do the way I want to do it. But this one, she was like, no, I'm telling my story. I'm telling the way I want it told. And otherwise it's just not happening. So I think that's another reason I love the show so much, is because she fought so hard for the story she wanted to tell. And she told such a great story.
Hey.
I didn't watch it now. It's like they're giving all these great reviews on it. It's like...
I'm on it now. Like I might go turn it on right now.
I'm mad at HBO Max again. Like, come on, man.
Yeah, you better get on that, man, because like I said, you're missing out. You're seriously missing out. So before we reflect upon this year and call it a day, lady and gentlemen. So what would you have picked for your number one? What's the greatest show of 2020 for you guys?
Y'all should have went last the way y'all described it.
For real, they took all the win out.
Because y'all really destroyed us. Like, I may destroy you. Yeah, y'all did.
If this was a battle, we lost.
Yeah, I know, right? They dropped the mic. Like,
well, this is a year of versus.
They're like, what's your number one, peasants?
Right. What's your number one? Our number one is Ozark. You got to love the Bird family. Marty and Wendy Bird. It's a hot mess. It's just, got to love dysfunctional family TV. It's just so great to watch. And Season 2 picked off where Season 1 left off, where he was just dysfunctional, hiding it, and to see Wendy jump on the train and take the lead role of dysfunction and try to turn into a bigger gangster than her husband, what Marty is.
Dude.
Yes.
Awesome TV, bro. Awesome TV. This is our number one.
Ozark is great. Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
I this last season of Ozark, I actually am going to walk away from Wendy Bird and Marty Bird.
Even if you see them in person, in real life, you're going to be like, oh.
I'm going to give all the credit and accolades to one young, he's not that young of an actor. His name is Tom Pelphrey. And the only reason I know this actor is because when I first moved to America, my wife was watching these soap opera that she'd watched since she was 6 years old with her grandmother, and I had never heard of a soap opera that was 70 years old, because in Latin America, soap opera goes between 3 and 6 months, and then you're done, dude. Like, seriously, we move on. But this soap opera was 70 years old and it was still going, and it's called Guiding Light. So my wife used to watch The Guiding Light, and I picked up on it because I was a big, novela watcher back in Latin America. And this kid was just breaking through the ranks in this show, Tom Pelphrey. And then he was on, I think, the first season or a couple of seasons of what was it? One of the little Marvel shows that Netflix tried to do, the one that mashed up with Luke Cage and stuff, the blind dude. What was his name?
Daredevil?
Oh, Daredevil.
Right. Yes. So Tom Pelphrey had a couple of appearances on that one. But on this season, this just recent season of Ozark, he played Wendy Bird's little brother,
Yes.
and
Yes.
he portrays a young man with mental issues, and that was absolutely fantastic to watch, man.
Train wreck.
Oh,
It was.
but his acting was so good. His acting was so good. So
That's when you felt for Wendy. Like, Wendy, you getting all that you gave out, you getting it right back to your brother. Like, he was just trauma, drama after drama. It was, man, it was great TV. I'm waiting for season 3.
It was. And I feel like every season we highlight one particular actor. Like we love Ruth, don't we, Jojo?
Yes. Yes.
We love Ruth. But this season for me was Tom Pelfrey did it, and I'm very grateful for his portrayal of this character. But yeah, no, I agree with you as you in your number one. I think you guys got it absolutely right.
Ozark is great.
Ozark is fantastic.
It's one of the best shows out there.
We have a hidden number one. Like, you have your bonus. Our bonus, our honorable mention. It's not even an honorable mention. It has to be, right? Because this is the last season of it. Shameless. Mm-hmm. The other dysfunctional family, the Gallagher family. That was for 8-9 seasons. That has been such phenomenal writing, because some of the stuff that they did and some of the stuff that you watch Frank and see how Frank is going to die this episode, and he always seems to fight back, to come back to life. He's like that human cockroach. He just never dies. He rolls over, look up, he just disappeared again on you. So, but shouts out to Shameless. This is their last season, so it would be terrible of me not to give them its just doing its last run at it.
All right. Well, that's one show that I've been seeing around for about 10 years now, and I've never watched one episode of it. But I know Bill H. Macy has always been one of my favorite actors, because like he flies under the radar, but everything he does, even if it's like one appearance in one weird show, he always manages to be great at it. And plus, he's a weird looking dude too, like small little dude that looks like he's 700 years old. And then when you look at his bio, he's like maybe in his
pretty young. Well kept. But listen, that's Graham. If of all the shows, it starts off slow, but once it gets to rolling, it's a phenomenal watch.
Yep.
And so, with that said, I'm going to give Giorgio, please. We have a little list of honorable mentions, but let's pick one out of that, Giorgio. Which one would you do?
I would pick, because I haven't seen it yet, and I know how much you love it, The Crown.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Giorgio. Thank you.
She threw you a bone.
Yeah, man.
She threw you a bone.
So I don't know if you guys watched The Crown, but I think this 4th season. I've been a fan of The Crown from the very beginning, and not that I'm not a royal watcher or anything like that. None of that crap interests me. It is, but I do know much about the royals for some weird ass reason that you guys probably know, and so I'm always looking for the actor who is going to portray these characters. I'm not talking about real life thing, but in terms of mannerism and gestures and looks, as closely as possible. And so I find that the show has managed to get the right actors to play the right roles. And every time, and one of the things I like the most about them is the fact that they don't just put a pile of makeup on younger actors to age them. Every season, if if the characters have aged, what they do is that they recast those characters with people that are of that age, right? So originally the show started with a younger actress playing the Queen and a younger actor playing Prince Philip. And then once it got to the part where the Queen is like reaching her 40s and stuff, boom, they cast Olivia Colman for
My
that
wife.
part. That is Jocelyn's favorite person on earth.
What's her name?
That's my wife.
Olivia Colman. It's Colman without an E for some reason. and
She's too good for me.
she is, yeah. That's like no E. I'm Olivia Colman.
Even the dog likes him.
Yeah, that's little buddy right there. He's kind of bored. And then the last two seasons that are coming up, the Queen is going to be played by another actress that we know that is very good because we've talked about her this year. Is Imelda Staunton. She was on a show that we recently did from BritBox called what was the show, Jojo? A Confession.
A Confession.
Yeah. So she's going to play the Queen in her 50s and 60s, and I know that it's going to be fabulous. So, but this particular season, the fourth season, was amazing because we got introduced to Diana Spencer, and the actress who played Lady Di was absolutely fabulous, and I loved it. And there was an actress also who played Margaret Thatcher. She was on an American show for the longest time. It was this show that investigated sort of like paranormal stuff, and it was like, I don't remember the name of the show, but the transformation of her into Margaret Thatcher was also a great thing to watch. And if you were a kid during the early 80s, you might remember that name being thrown around, and she sort of like is the Ronald Reagan of Britain in terms of political figures. Right. And she was played very, very well by this actress. So I think season 4 of The Crown should be an honorable mention.
Yes.
With all that said, I am going to give you guys each 1 minute to reflect upon what are your expectation of the 2021 and how ready you are to say goodbye to 2020. Ladies first, let's see. Jojo, what do you think?
Let's see. My expectations for television or for what?
Whatever you want to throw in there.
Whatever I want to say.
Yeah.
I'm very ready to say goodbye to 2020. I'm looking forward to 2021, but I also am being a realist about it and knowing that everything doesn't end on December 31st and suddenly magically everything's wonderful and great and marvelous on January 1st.
It better.
So, it would be nice. It would be super nice if we could all wave a wand and make that happen. If we could, I think we would have done it by now. But yeah, I am looking forward to hopefully things being better, to there being a working vaccine, to there being ability to spend time with people that we care about, and to just maybe have some awareness too about the fact that we weren't living in a utopia per se before all this happened, and take some lessons away from what's happened and stand up for ourselves and for our families, and take some of our own back that we lost.
Yeah. And I'm not going to say well said, but well said. Really, absolutely. So, in that order, then let's Smash.
Yeah, for I guess for 2021, just looking forward to like what JoJo was saying is getting back to spending time with friends and family, doing some traveling, and get out of the house a little bit more. I guess I took that for granted prior to 2020, and now I think 2020 has just been a bad time for everybody. So I'm looking forward to just getting back to some normalcy. I like some of the new stuff that has been implemented, but basically back to normalcy. And then for as far as movies and TV, I'm looking for a good year because I think Hollywood learned a lesson with this 2020 and this COVID environment that, hey, like in case this does happen again, we need to have a stockpile of stuff that we can put out. So even some of the shows that we may have never seen before, if this was to happen again, they'll put out, or maybe they'll put out just to give it a run. So I'm looking for big things from Hollywood just because I felt like they have been playing catch up all year. So I'm looking forward to.
That is absolutely true. You're right, man. Hollywood has been playing catch up, and it's like they never see anything coming until it happens. So
right.
Checks too big. Who cares? The checks are so huge. Who cares? Yeah. We'll cross that bridge when we get there.
Well, then, you are on the spotlight, my friend.
My 21, my expectations is just to get to some type of normalcy. The new norm, whatever the new norm is, let's present that so that we can evolve into that new norm. Other than that, television wise, I'm in love with the streaming era. This era of TV, which I've always screamed about. Why do I have to have cable and have to have all these packages that I'm not going to watch? So I hope the evolution of the streaming era takes an even bigger jump going into 2021. And I think it will with COVID and how they're filming things now. I think they see how they can cut corners. Well, not necessarily cut corners, but save on instead of having these big to-do productions and having to go to theaters and seeing that directly to streaming services is a big norm. The movie theaters are going to be a thing of the past, I believe. So I hope that the capitalistic moviegoers, the movie captains, you would call them, I guess, don't get greedy and really spoil this for us, because this is really a good era for us that enjoy watching TV the way that we watch it, and to be able to choose, and hopefully they just build upon that for 2021.
Yes, I agree with you. I agree with both of you guys in all of this. To be honest with you, I think directors and movie producers have been the ones who've been left behind in the streaming era, because you still have some that refuse to accept that there's a new sheriff in town and it's called streaming. And while I can buy into the notion that some movies are best enjoyed at a movie theater, the fact of the matter is those electronics that are made for homes are simulating very much the movie theater, to the point where the experience is almost as pleasant. And so, yes, they need to get back into what's going on right now. And I'm encouraged that we've seen big directors like Scorsese and Spike Lee, making movies for Netflix, and we've seen Al Pacino, joining the cast of a show that is exclusively for streaming content.